we've looked at a single leaf like this, and there's nothing to stop you using a single leaf in some design. But I think this leaf and the shape of it calls for being used either as a group or in a series, in a pattern. So let's just have a look at that for the moment. What I've got in the download is a series of a printout like this with a series of leaves, and you'll see that they're left like this and right, or right and left, whichever. So they're mirror images, and you can use this download, this page, to cut out various leaves of different orientations and see how they work together. So just looking at that, you could have two leaves doing this or this way up, and you could have them like this or like this, and here you could put some berries, and we'll deal with berries a little later. If you want, you could even cluster them into threes like that. Of course, you'd have to be sure that they wouldn't overlap. Have them the same orientation like this, or different. So you can actually do some sort of radial pattern. I'll talk about that in a moment. But let's just look at what I think really works best is when they're in a series. So in other words, we've got them lined up like this. And I think how I think they work best is when you've got this one leaf nestled either like that, like so. So you've got a little cluster like this, or indeed just in a line like this. And this produces in effect a sort of moulding, and what you have is this lovely flowing line like a wave passing along. So we're going to use this orientation for a project in the next video. But supposing you wanted to do say, put them around a board like this, put them as a moulding, as a sort of effect. Well, one of the problems we've got is that these are quite big, and you might want to make those a bit smaller, because being quite big, you're using up a lot of space. But just bear that in mind. If you make them smaller, then you need to work with the tools that you've got, rather than just hoping for the best. So redesign it or make it smaller with smaller tools. But let's have a look at the actual how this might work on a moulding, because the real difficulty is in a corner. When you've got mouldings that are going along in a direction like this, in a single direction, how do they go round a corner and keep that direction going? It's quite difficult. Can you see that when you come to a mitered corner, or even if it's not actually a mitered, you've got a corner, you have this rather odd space. I think what does work best here is to have it so that one of the leaves comes up like this into the corner, which means in a way reversing the leaf on the opposite one. So we're now going in an opposite direction, and then we've got a problem at the other corner. So what the best thing to do is actually to have some sort of center point from which the moulding comes each time. So this one would come off here like that, and then from this point there would be the moulding going this way, and then in this little space here you could put berries, and here you could put berries. So that's probably the best way to deal with a corner like this. You could do it the other way around, so that you've got the stalks or the centre veins in the corner, but I don't think that sort of fills up the space in such a nice way as this does. So the thing to do is to cut some out and just play with this and see how they'll work with your space. I mean, we are going to do we are going to do a project which involves a radial symmetry, and you can have, just to make sure they're all going in the same direction, you can have this sort of effect going on when they go round like this. And I think that works rather nicely. You see, 4, 5, whatever. You might like to play with that, or you might find that something works well with a triangle. And you can play around with these ideas, and then you've got to find some way, like a candlestick or something in the middle, that finishes this part off. So do cut some out, play around, and see if you can make up some new designs with this sort of leaf.